Yeah, good evening, everyone. It's a beautiful Tuesday evening. I want to know who is on the call. If you have joined and you can hear me, I would want to get feedback. So I would want us to start by way of introduction in the chat box, so we could work with feedbacks. Okay, the media team, please push out your profile so we could proceed. Right. It's beautiful to be here again. So if you're here, I want to see some emojis in the chat box, right? Um, Welcome everybody. It's a beautiful Tuesday evening. It's a beautiful Tuesday evening. Oh, treasure, you're here. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful Tuesday evening. Let's remember to share the link, right? It's Zobanwa. You're always early. Joe from Asaba. It's good evening, everyone. It's beautiful. I hope we get value from this our section. The beauty of knowledge is that no one can take it away from us, right? Media team, please make this more bolder for me. Right. So the beauty of knowledge is that nobody can take it away from us. And the most significant beauty of it is the exponential. Knowledge is the only assets that create other assets. You want to create money through sales, you go and seek the knowledge of sales. You want to create money through trading, you go and seek the knowledge of trading, right? So knowledge is that asset that create other asset. Last week we had one of the phenomenal minds in this sector with us, and he shared, Chris, welcome. He shared some phenomenal things with us, and it's beautiful when we're, because the game is multifaceted, right? And people tend to it's good, beautiful. You see life from the lens of different persons, and with that, you are able. Thank you so much, the media. You guys have done well. It helps us to understand what we have been, what is possible for you. It tells you that there is no one way. Um, there is no one way to power. There is no one way to wealth, even within the same industry. But funny enough, all successful people within out an industry operate by the same principle. It's constant, right? So it's a beautiful evening. Let's remember to share the link. Let's remember to invite our friends, because wealth can only be created in community. It can only be created in community. It can only be created in community. With a trained mind, with a trained eyes, right? And you have a friend, and both of you are analyzing a business, analyzing a situation, because the mind is trained, because his mind is trained, because he had something and interpreted it through another lens, and is looking at the same problem. We could help you solve the problem. So remember to share the link why we get started. Today is the 21st of October, July, and it's really a beautiful day. So mindset. Last week we were with Jeff. Um, well with Jeff Anozie, and he was teaching us something classical. What was he teaching us? He was teaching us about marketing and using social media, how YouTube is the game changer, and how it has been able to help him create a whole new universe in terms of real estate. He started by teaching us about the mind, and that was beautiful. You see, he has not been to our section, but we always talk about how the mind is a fundamental part of your results, right? I have this quote that result is 95% mindset and 5% strategy. Right. So he did a lot of things. He started from mindset to million to billions. He said should become value based, that he talks about raising our standard. He helped us see a lot of um and he was still talking about that the most scalable marketing is content marketing. That was the bedrock. Why I'm drawing us back is so you refresh your mind at where we are. And while he was talking about raising our standards and and content marketing, he said something which is product knowledge. Most times, the basics of things are what people ignore, and it's that basis that distinguishes who closes the deals and who does not. That basics, right? That basics, right? If you're going for an IELTS test or to fail or things, those type of, and there's also when you're taking the English class, they have speaking, they have hearing, they have writing. They have one of them, get comprehension, right? The ability to understand. And funny enough, when they're talking about the speaking and the listening, it's all about the speaking is mostly what you learned, the basics of English. All that asking you that is the basics of English. So it's the basics. So it's the basics of the profession, which is the product knowledge. I don't know if any of us has gone back to do contents that relate about the generality of the industry we play in. You talked about content marketing, so Shani talking about how development is going towards every of the corridors within the locale that you play in the real estate sector. And that was a phenomenal class. I was just doing this introduction, so I'm sure that more persons are here. And it's 8 minutes past the hour of it. I hope we are willing to push along with this class. Okay, Madam Vivian, beautiful. It's nice having you, and it's nice to know that you are back to study. Welcome, and Sandra, welcome. So with that, let's hit today's topic. So today, what are we looking at? It's going to be a sharp class, and we're going to learn things, and we're going to forge ahead with it. Okay. So what we're learning is how do we turn today's opportunities into tomorrow's wealth? Turning today's opportunities into tomorrow's wealth. Turning today's opportunities into tomorrow's wealth. Excuse me. Now, in hindsight, every opportunity looks like, oh, I would have taken it. Oh, I would have taken it. Timing is one of the most critical factors in um in your journey to wealth, whatever the industry, right? Um, if you're buying um, MTN stocks today, it's beautiful. But what of those that bought it when Pascal Dozier was selling it, right? When it didn't make any sense. You didn't even know if the network would strive in Nigeria, and Nitel was failing, and the rest of them, right? When the Globacom chief, Mike Adenuga, went to Switzerland and took a whole lot of loan to come and invest in the Globacom in Nigeria. In hindsight, it will look like that was a no-brainer, right? But then when you remember the opportunities, that these were bare lands, these were green lands, there were no prospects, they were prospects of development, but the developments were not on ground. It's always important, right? It's always important that you have that. So meaning that every man gets opportunity in one way or the other. So today we're looking at turning today's opportunity into tomorrow's world. How do we spot opportunities? How do we know? I would like to by telling us some stories and not much of there's this man we all know. It's called Allen Onyema, right? And how did Allen become Allen? Allen was a young lawyer earning, was it 500 naira a month or thereabout? But that was back in the days, right? So he was earning a meager sum per month. But what happened? He had a tout at the motor park that he always used to enter the, what do they call it, Marwa or those big buses, and the conductor he knew him as this young lawyer that will not his tie, and maybe call him charge and bail, something like that. But you get. But he was friendly with the guy, and one day their family wanted to sell land towards I think Alabado in Lagos, and the Agbero called Alien Onyema, right? He's a lawyer by training. I told him, please come and let our family sign power of attorney for you for this land. Let them hand you over this land. Go and sell it for us and bring the money. You get. And that was how Alien started. And it was 400 plots. And that was what shifted Alien's empire to wealth. Did you hear what I said? That was what shifted Alien's empire to wealth. That is the MD of Airpeace, right? The owner of Airpeace. It was those 400 plots. He sold a lot of them, bought some. He bought 87 plots for himself. That 87 plus the money he made selling those other ones for the family was how he became who he is. It's important you know those stories, right? So how did he keep those 87 plus? How did he seize that opportunity? How did he use that day's opportunities? Now, all those things are in hindsight, right? But that is the same way me and you sit upon some opportunities that may not look much. You say 400 plots is much, yes, but people have sat on 1,000 plots and did nothing. So let's go back to another Nigerian, right? I will try to stick with Nigerians with this my story. We have a man called Pastor Paul Adefarasin, right? Through Pastor Paul's own confession, his father, Paul Adefarasin, right? They don't used to be a very wealthy family as you know them, right? Pastor Paul Adefarasin is a prominent pastor. I can't remember the church, but if you remember in the comment section, tell us the church that he's the senior pastor. All right, it's a prominent Nigerian church, and but before, he used to be a normal Nigerian guy, your normal education, but you know what happened? His father picked they picked his pensions, used his pension, bought some plots in VI, and he didn't have the money to develop it. Yes, you had me. He didn't have the money to develop it. But at that time, it was a water meshy lands. I've always told us here, time and time again, that the wetlands are for the rich, the dry lands are for the poor. Yeah, yeah, because when you go to Monaco, when you go to the most expensive places are normally the waterside. Maybe because of its therapeutic to live beside the water, it's more expensive to build on the water. So land banking by the waters, um, by the water play abilities tends to give more returns. I didn't say land banking is not you buy land where there is no plan. Where there is plan, land banking becomes land banking. Remember, you don't buy land because and just keep it and there's no any plan around that area and you say you're banking money. No, you're not doing land banking. What you are doing is that you are tying down your money. You do land banking with prospect and with plan. Okay, thank you. Pastor Paul Adefarasin, House on the Rock, right? That's the senior pastor of House on the Rock. So his father bought these meshy lands in VI. The whole of VI used to be extremely meshy, that's waterland. And 10 years later, he had some persons come to expatriate who are moving into Nigeria. And this expatriate had some years that they wanted to stay in the country based on their contract. So they didn't see a decent house to live in. They didn't see a decent house to live in. So what did they do? They decided to meet Pastor Paul Adefarasin's father, gave him an offer. Don't sell this land to us. Let's run a JV. We will build on the house. We will live on the house for 10 years, or I can't remember the exact number of years, but I know it was 10 years or in excess of that. And when we are done with our program or with our contract in development, we will leave. Then the house in the land belongs to you. That will not be your payment for us using your land. And the man looked at it. It's a beautiful JV, right? That's a beautiful JV, right? It's not instant gratification, but that is it. And you know what? They built the house. Normally, you should know they were built it. They were looking for something standard. So they built the house, they stayed there. When their 10 years was over, they left the country, handed over the keys to Pastor Paul Adefarasin's father. What happened? The rent from that house alone was what sent Pastor Paul himself and his other brothers to the best schools abroad. And when their father passed on, not less than, I'm not sure it's up to 15 years ago, or maybe, let me just say 15, but all those details are online. And what happened? They sold the property and they sold it in excess of $1 million. This was Pastor Paul Adefarasin's story, seeing how his family became a wealthy family. He's also the family that I think he's also Pastor Paul that had a situation where he bought a land where the house on the Rocket Water is currently situated that he bought for 25 million, and he was saying 4 years ago that is now what 10 billion, right? Just the land alone. For a land he bought 25 million naira. And you know why he would be able to do that was because he has seen what that one parcel of land changed the bloodline forever. It changed their bloodline. Everybody in the Pastor Paul Adefarasin's family has a very good education and they are well trained. You can hear his English. He learned on that TD Jakes, and that's it. Just one asset. So, but that was the opportunities of their time that their father took. So, and that's why we're talking, turning today's opportunities into tomorrow's world. There are opportunities today. Remember, that land laid fallow for years. Don't forget it. Right? It laid fallow for years. Then it laid another fallow. Not like there were houses in it, but he wasn't benefiting from it. He could have taken to sell the land to. We could have taken the faster route. Let me sell this land to these foreigners that are building, that wants to live there. Let them build, and when they are done, they can sell the house and the land and go back to their country. But they didn't take that shortcut. So it's important. It's about turning that opportunity into tomorrow's work, right? So because if somebody offered me and offered you a land in the center of Abuja, in the center of Asaba, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, you would have said you would have bought it, right? But do you know how that place would have been looking? The current places that are at the center now, 10, 15 years ago. So those, in hindsight, you will say yes. But if those opportunities were staring at you with the reptiles that will be moving around that area at that time, would you say yes? So that's the question. Okay. So I would always want to start by defining land banking, because the basics is the basics. And what's land banking? Land banking is the process of acquiring undeveloped land, right? Undeveloped land for the purpose of investments. Right? For the purpose of investment. For the purpose of investment, you could be doing the investment because you want to build an industrial park, like like the one Dangote did, right? And then, but there are a lot of things that come with land banking. Remember, I said land banking is not about just buying land and then you believe it will develop. No, there are things. Someone like Dangote, why does he buy land? What opportunities does he look for to turn today's opportunities into tomorrow's world? One of the things Dangote looks for is places with high concentration of proposed government projects. So if there are high concentration of proposed government projects in an area, he's interested. If there are no high concentration of proposed government projects, he's not interested. That's funny, but that's the game, right? Because it's about land banking, it's about saying you could, when a city is planned, right? When a city is planned, the values will rise. Example, there's a place called Lakwe Golf and Country Club. You could browse it, right? It's one of the best fun green cities in Nigeria. It's one of the best. It's in Lagos, right? So Lakwe Country and Golf is called Lakwe, right? But when you spelled, you can pronounce in terms of spelling, it's Lakowe, right? But it's pronounced as Lakwe. So if you get to Lakwe and immediately you leave the gate of Lakwe, you will notice that the area is a suburb. But inside Lakwe is like a different country altogether. Like a different country altogether, right? So you now see, because Lakwe is well planned, and then land values is like night and day. As far back as 2024, I know a plot was going for close to 400 as the houses, not the plot. Mini houses sitting on 250 square meters were going for 400, 450, right? So what does that tell you? Why outside? I'm not sure there will be land sizes of that amount to be commanding up to 20 million. I am not sure. I doubt it. So it's about planning. So buying land for before when an opportunity shows up and everybody already knows that this is an opportunity, you've lost the opportunity. You've lost the critical advantage, right? If everybody is doing hair and you decide to start doing hair, you've lost the advantage. If everybody is in an industry and you jump into the industry, you've lost the advantage. We call it the blue ocean and the red ocean, right? We call it blue ocean, red ocean, right? And there are techniques to this, right? The beauty of this is that let's know that there are today's opportunities that we can translate. Because if you're not able to see that this can lead to tomorrow's world. Like Paul was like the Paul Adefarasi story and then the Alien Onyema story, right? The chairman of Epis, you will. If he didn't believe that was tomorrow's world, he would have sold off the 87 plots, right? He would have he wouldn't have bought anyone for himself. He's the seller, man. He's the salesman. So buying land before everyone realizes its true value is one of the critical things. People don't become wealthy by buying land after development. The same way, people don't become wealthy when things have everybody has seen uh, the results on the playbook. So there are really four stages. Four stages. Excuse me, please. There are really four stages to this game of being able to have the eyes that sees opportunity. There are four stages. One, in terms of land, there's the stage we call where it's bushy, where there's a lot of confusion, right? It's called the confusion stage. There's where there's green. If it's a land, the lands are green. There are no pavements. There are nothing. It's just bush, right? But there's something. The more the confusion, the higher the probability to make money. The more the confusion, the higher the probability to make money. The more the more the confusion, the more the green, the higher the probability to make money. Right? So you can call it the bushland or the land there's a lot of bush. Just see the bush as the Benjamins, right? See it as the green. And the more the greens are living, the more the number of X you can get from that investment is reducing. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's something we call 10x, 20x, 100x. So when you say 10x is you bought a place for, let's say, 10 million. So 10x is 100 million. 100x is 1 billion. When the place is selling for 1 billion, it's now 100x, right? So when the greens are leaving, when the roads are coming, the electricity is coming, just know that the number of potential X's are going down of whatever the amount of return is going to yield, right? So what happens at stage one is bushy, is greenery, there's confusion, prices is low, it's highest opportunity, and then remember, with it comes the highest risk. Always know that, because funny enough, land is not a safe investment. There are three types of investment. We have high risk, we have medium risk, and we have low risk. Like low risk is maybe what people call safe investment. Truly, safe investments are good, but it's for those that want to be in maximum security prisons, right? If you want maximum security, you go for safe investments. Safe investments, you get it. Their returns are always extremely low. You can't use safe investment to become rich. No, you use it to maintain status quo. Sometimes safe investments come below the cost of inflation. So you are not even maintaining status quo, you are losing your ground. Then land comes in form of what we call mid-risk. Mid-risk, right? It's called mid-risk. It's not safe, but it's not a high risk. So it's just better you understand that, because the house could be fully developed and tomorrow government could map out something to do there. And you now guess why I say it's mid risk, right? So that's that. So you see, stage one, stage two is infrastructure. When infrastructure starts coming, electricity starts coming, roads arrive, and the developers are putting roads, they're putting so in this stage, that's why I remember one of our estates when we stopped buying around there was when they started constructing roads around that. Government awarded a road. I dare not buy a land where the roads have been completed. Why am I buying it? Right? Why? Because if the capital gain is accepted, if you're not buying for capital gain, if you're buying for capital gain, right, which is the dumbest thing to do with land, then it's okay. Is you shouldn't be buying after the roads have come, right? Then the number three is commercial activities. What's commercial activities? Commercial activities has to do with schools, it has to do with markets, it has to do with employment. People now have to come here because their institute is here, their university they teach is here, the factory they're working is here, right? So it's commercial activities, and then demand will rise sharply. So in 1 to 3 is where wealth is created. Stage 4 is about maturity. The market matures. And once the market matures, is this place is selling for 200 million. Next year you hear it's 220. Is yeah, you may say, but the percentage return is no longer there. And that's how development occurs. Now, why we talk about this, there are three critical for you to be able, since we're talking about wealth in spotting, using today to turning today's opportunity into tomorrow's wealth. There are three critical areas that doing land banking that you cannot go wrong. And one of them is transportation hubs. So when I mean transportation hubs, I mean seaports. I mean around seaports, 10 kilometers within a seaport, 10 kilometers, not 5 kilometers, um, 5 kilometers within an airport, and um, and railway, right? 5 kilometers away. So with airports, you have that ideas from Asaba Airport to Lagos Airport to 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 even Abuja Airport, right? Then so now, why is that so? Because when people arrive, remember, when they arrive, they are looking and they're asking, in all their mind is they're looking for opportunity. So it's that the person is flying out or the person is coming in either with a train or with or his goods is coming in. If his goods is coming in with a ship, okay, can I build a terminal around here? And remember this, that is providing employment. We talked about those three stages, right? It's providing employment. Those ports, those transportation hubs, those transportation stations are producing some sorts of employment. And those people that normally come there, why they are coming there, the eyes of man is constantly seeking and wired to look for opportunities. So it's looking, okay, these are bare lands. Maybe I can own something here. And that is how those values climb. That's how those values climb. So high. So we talked about transport infrastructure, right? Transport infrastructure. Where there is transport infrastructure, transport hubs, especially seaport, airport, and train station. You can think of I always like the Idu example. Idu, I used to know Idu very well, and Idu used to be extremely out of town in Abuja. So the first time I used the train sometime, I can't remember the year, maybe 20, was it 2019? And I was like, this place is somewhere outskirts. I don't even know where this place is. I don't know. And but today, when you go to do is one of the hottest places in Abuja in the rising market, right? Because markets rise, right? Markets rise. It's one of the hottest places. Tends to the new train station. Because once you're taking the train, oh, you're looking Greenland. What can I do? Maybe I can buy land somewhere here. Then another place you cannot go wrong is educational. educational centers like universities. They're not just higher institutions, right? But even powerful secondary school, powerful one, powerful secondary school. You know what? I don't mean your government secondary school for those of us in Nigeria. No, I mean good private secondary schools, right? And if there are powerful, good government secondary schools, excellent. Around them, if there are bushes, buy them. Why? Because when the parents are coming to take their children or to drop their children, whether most schools, those type of schools should be a burden because they will be outskirts. And then when they are coming, they are looking at, oh, Greenland, Greenland, I can get something here. It's what the eye sees that he wants to seize, and that always triggers development. One of the school I attended in my secondary school experienced that phenomenon. It experienced that phenomenon, right? It experienced that phenomenon. So whether it's a secondary school, whether it's a university, around it is going to always is an opportunity that is, or is the opportunity that is available today that is going to create wealth in the future, right? Then another thing is industrial hubs. Industrial hub. There's a strategy we know, we call it the compare strategy here. And what does that compare strategy means? It means that when you're looking at a land banking opportunity, you're looking at something that you know you can get 10x of your money or 200x of your money, depending on your entry time and your weight level, right? And the level of development that is going to be put in there. We have something we call the compel, 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 CO for commerce, M for migration, P for people, E for employment, and L for luxury. So at what ratios are these indices close to that to that place? And so when we say industrial clusters, we remember what happens in industrial clusters. A lot of industries are there, and maybe because of it's a free trade, so maybe there's a lot of industries around there. Or even if it's not a free trade zone, but this industry is here, this industry is here, this industry is here, this industry is here. You know what will happen? Those people will live somewhere. Those people working in those industries, they will live somewhere. They could provide a housing inside there for them. But over time, there are suppliers that will be coming to the factory to either carry or to go or to supply something or to buy something or to come and make a complaint at the headquarters or to come for party or something. Will make the people start saying, oh, what of other industries that we want to stay close to their sister industries? Do you get it? So you can't go wrong. So industrial hubs or industrial parks, powerful places in hindsight. Now we have a lot of industrial parks in Nigeria, some without enough gravity, some have not taken off. But when they do take off, those places will be hot zones. No brainer, right? So we've talked about the tree. We said high institutions, secondary schools. We've talked of transportation hubs with a critical focus on train infrastructure, the train stations. Another one, what else did we say? We said airports. We talked about seaports, right? Then we talked about industrial hubs, right? And or parks. So I hope we get this. It's important. So if you got the three, please could you type it down in the chat box? Yeah, the more confusion, the more the opportunity. Yeah. Because if you remove all the confusion, there will be more money to be made. Right. Your job is to fight the confusion and clean it up. And then there will be more access. Right. So that is that. So I want to know, did we get that three I mentioned about three ways that you are sure that this. Why I'm taking us this, because in our last class, our last speaker talked to us about our product knowledge, and it's important we have critical product knowledge of what we're doing, and with that, you're able to go further. I want to be sure that I am audible and you are following. Can someone type the three aspects, or anyone you remember that I said that you can't go wrong seeing this today's opportunity, that they will translate to tomorrow's wealth, right? That they will translate to tomorrow's wealth. I'm not getting any feedback. I'm not getting any feedback. I'm not getting any feedback, guys. I'm not getting feedbacks. Or you're not following. Hello. It's somebody. Am I still? Or if you can hear me, type here yes, so I can hear you. Huh? If you can hear me, type yes. I want to be sure that I'm audible. I'm not getting feedbacks. I'm not getting feedbacks. I need to feed off your energy. I need to feed off your energy. I need to feed off your energy. Is what I'm saying making sense? Okay, I think they are coming. Okay, yes, you can hear me. Okay, correct. Correct. Sandra, you can hear me. Chukwuloze, you can hear me. Okay, so we didn't get the three that I talked about. I talked about industrial parks. I talked about institutions. I talked about transportation hubs. You shouldn't forget that. It's religious hubs based on Nigeria. Religious hubs is another one. And I didn't want to give it to us without somebody talking about what we've talked about. Like religious hubs, right? When you talk about when your big churches are building their HQs, because Africa is purely it's deeply religious. But that's by the way. So then when we move in again in hindsight, what else are opportunities when you that we can translate to tomorrow's world? Promotions. Promotions, right? Promotions. Trying to deal with things that we don't normally talk about every time. So how do promotions translate to tomorrow's wealth? So sometimes in whether in real estate, whether you're trading, you're importing goods from China, you're buying from directly, you're buying direct wires in trailers or in tones from Kutis, right? From Kutis wire, right? And and then maybe Kutis decides to wake up and say, oh, we have a lot of stock in our warehouse. So for every 10 trailer, for every 10 ton of wire you buy, we're going to give you an extra one ton free. That's a promotion. Does it mean that those wires have lost their value? No, it has not. But sometimes people treat promotions as desperation. So because they now feel like, oh, they're not cheating the person. Oh, it's like he just wants to sell it. But the wire has not lost its value because Kutis decides to give you 10, buy 10, and get one free. No, they have not lost their value. It's in products like feed, in animal feeds, right? In products like drinks, right? Something animal feeds, they call it rebate. They call it rebate in or rice or grains, things they do in bags. They call it rebate. So the number of ones you sell will determine the number of rebates you get, and that's the main thing in that industry, right? So, but most investors think that promotions are only discounts. No, they are wealth accelerators. So, if you want to understand that, go to if you have someone that is trading greens at high level, that is trading feeds, livestock feeds at high level, you will find out those promotions, they are not just discounts, they are wealth accelerators, critical wealth accelerators, critical, right? So what do so meaning but when there are different conversations would always lead to different outcomes. Different conversations will lead to different outcomes. And that's why we're having this conversation. That the word formula is more when you have more plots, when you have more, it leads to more appreciation, it leads to more equity. And for people like us who will say, oh, what am I doing with more equity? Tomorrow you could be doing a deal with a lot of banks, or that your client could be doing a deal with a lot of banks. with one bank and he needs an equity to be down, and his equity might be that they need an equity of 400 million or 500 million from him. And it could be one time he took advantage of one promotion that were being run by Latera, or that, and that is what is saving him, because the value of those one plots are now 50 million. Are you getting it? So, but the important, so I want us to get this point. It's a bit dicey, but because when you're serious and you understand the equity game, when you go to the banks, you want to fund the project. Most times they want to know what is your equity in the game. If you don't have enough equity, what are you going to talk about, right? And so it may come in form of collateral, it may come in form of raw equity, what you have invested, right? And I remember one of our organ, what he would always say is he doesn't believe in taking facility. But what he says is that he would only take facility when he has 80% in equity. So you get it. Why some persons, but the standard ratio is that if the banks are providing, the banks should provide 80%, and you should have 20%. So I want us to get that. So these are different conversations. So promotions, discounts, what they are really wealth accelerators. Businesses are the same across boards. Remember what we said when we started? I told us that I said something like, I can't remember the line I said it, but I said that despite people being in the same industry, I was talking about our last speaker, being in the same industry, you see they address things from different angles. But the fundamental truth is that all successful people play by the same rules. And that discount, in terms of what you're trading, in terms of opportunity, every time there will always be a window that discounts itself. It's your job to take it. Warren Buffett calls it in his business, he calls it the bear season, right? He says when the stock stake is shaving, he calls it the black swan. When there is a 9/11, when the COVID happens, when something that destabilizes the world economy happens, that's what they call it, right? So in our business, we call it promotions, we call it discounts. In trading greens, they call it rebate, right? So it's important you know what these things are. It's important. These are opportunities of today that can be turned and mixed together, and you will get what? You will get the wealth of tomorrow. Okay? So, and with that, you could do a lot of things with it. A lot, and a lot of things. So these are the things I want to share with us. But I'm not sure. Up to now, I'm not sure we got those three stuffs. Are we still here? Right? I'm not sure we got what I was talking about. The three, excuse me, please. Yeah, I'm very strong, but agenda must agenda. Um, okay, so as we were saying, I want to be sure that we are following through, and I would want to take questions, right? I would want to take questions. How do we translate opportunities, today's opportunities, into tomorrow's world? I started by telling us about land banking and what land banking is, and how is the process of acquiring lands for the purpose of investment. But these lands are not random lands. They are lands with prospects. There are land that have a master plan. There are lands that are being developed, right? And they are within the corridors of development, right? These are what makes something to be land banking. And land banking is not when you keep land for 2 years. No, I call it the law of 10, where you can keep something for 10 years, right? Right, right. Okay. Transportation hubs. Thank you. Religious hubs. It's important that I'm sure that we're following up, please. Thank you. Okay. So because land banking is really for is in small scale, it's for the pre-rich. Yes. people would always tell you, I don't like it, but it's for pre-rich. It's not for those that are extremely rich. And it is for the pre-rich, those that are on their journey to become wealthy. It's a form of capital acquisition. It's a form of capital, it's a form of a way to buy capital. Because wealth comes by owning something. Anyway, I read an article the other time, and it was saying that a family in the US, that every day in the US for the past 1 year was, I can't remember the number, but that the number of persons become millionaires, and it comes by what? Through ownership. It's not the game of showmanship, but through ownerships. Okay, and that's funny. You don't wait to acquire them to become. You acquire them and then you become, right? But most questions that people will ask when you're dissecting product knowledge or you're discussing with clients, one of their major issues will be, oh, there's no money on ground. And in the sales journey, without objection, the sales will close. Right? Sorry, it will not close. I mean, the journey will be cut off. But with a real objection that is well addressed, you can now go ahead to close, that is collecting the money and deliver the product. So with that, you're able to grasp the concept of what is being said. Right. So what comes by owning something? Strategic, no matter what it is. It comes by owning something. So one of the reasons we've talked about these critical aspects, I want you to go back, look at them, those industrial hubs, market. So in your wealth journey, you must have things within industrial hubs. When you hear an industrial hub is rising, a year ago, was it a year ago? Yes, a year ago, the federal government announced that they were doing train lines. Where would those train stations be? You should be asking that question, right? The approved new universities, that university campuses like what we have at the Admiralty University Second Campus, what is it going to do within that environment, right? So you ask those questions. Those are the today's opportunities that can translate to wealth. Chicken enough. That is the basics of this class. That is the basics. That is the basis of when you're selling to a client, you have a critical understanding that this thing has moved like this sequentially, right? When you're talking about something, you're telling the person the second Niger Bridge Link Road, and then you remember Lekki. What made Lekki? Lekki became because of Third Mainland Bridge. You have ideas of this, which is critical road infrastructure, right? It's a transport hub, right? A bridge, not just a road, a powerful one that was connecting something that was not connected by any form of road before. So I want to stop here, and I want to take questions if there are any. And yeah, all successful people play by the same rule. That's correct. And I hope we've been able to pick something. And what we looked at was understanding that today's opportunities can be the bedrock for tomorrow's wealth. There would always be challenge. And remember, the more the confusion, the greater the wealth that we could create. So I would want to take questions if we do have any. And as I was talking about promotions before, I had a black the promotions. What do they do? I'm waiting to see if there are questions on the comment section. Promotions give you a lower acquisition cost for products like real estate. And what else does it do for you? It helps you make decision faster. That's FUMO. FUMO helps you make decision. You fear you may miss this, and then you make decision faster. Then you get a larger asset base. a larger asset base. For things like grain, you get your rebates. And as funny as these things are, it's in different industries. And here, what happens is promo and it's not discount. But most times when people just look at it as discount, is just call it wealth accelerator, right? Call it a wealth accelerator. That's what I call it. I was waiting for any questions from us, but it seems like there are no questions. And I would today's opportunities are the bedrocks of tomorrow's challenges. That's correct. Okay, my people, it's a beautiful Tuesday evening, and it's nice to have us here. I would want us to call it a day, and let's remember to go to bed, right? Plan your day before the day shows up, and the night and the morning were the first day. So this night would always lead to tomorrow. So let's plan the day and know that if it's rough today, tomorrow may be rougher, but the next day will be the day after tomorrow will be sunshine. Have a beautiful day and regards to everyone on the score. Thank you so much. Let's have a beautiful day and media over to you, please. End the section. Thank you.